vlog or a video report after the tournament I went to. I went to Kirtonian Games in Crediton. Had a really good day actually. It was only a small event. Yeah, I just thought I would run you through the list that I took. So obviously I took Orks. I think I'll run you through what's in it. So we'll start off with the beast bosses, I guess, the HQ section. So I've got Morsrag. I think everyone's running him in a list right now. He's just really good. He's a bit pricey, maybe not too pricey for what he does. Just sort of stays around forever, really. I did find he sort of bounces off quite a lot of stuff, but he just sticks around and whittles away. Another beast boss on Squigglesaw there. Unfortunately, he's not painted up to quite where I wanted him. Sort of rushed him through. I think I got him on Monday. Got to that sort of level. There's tabletop ready basically. It just sort of complements Morsrag. Again, stays around for it. Feel no pain is really, really annoying to deal with. Another character then is Beast Boss on Smasher Squig, or Boss on Smasher Squig, leading a unit of Squig Hog Boys. I did give him the enhancement Edwopper's Kill Chopper, that anti-vehicle 3+ in the WAR, really good. The fact he does between 6 and 8 more wounds, pretty much on average. It's just, yeah, it's really good to be able to circumnavigate these saves of anything really. And then I've got Boss Zagstrike in the middle. I just can't leave him at home at the minute. Just small conversion that I did, just couldn't get hold of the model anywhere. But yeah, I like him. Running a unit of 10-man Storm Boys with him as well. Yeah, don't know if I'm set on the 10-man unit of Storm Boys. I sort of kept them in the backfield to countercharge anything else really. And then we'll go on to, so I mentioned one unit of Squig Hog Boys, but obviously another 2 units of Squig Hog Boys as well. I think they're really good right now. 110 points, 4 at base save, 5 at feel no pain, 3 wounds each. They just stay around for days, and again, they just chip away. Quantity attacks, 7 attacks base, 8 attacks in the war between the Squig themselves. Are really good. I actually forgot the entire day they had Lance. So actually surprised they chewed through what they did, because obviously Lance makes a massive difference, +1 to wound. I need to remember that for future, because there was just some stuff where they just stayed in combat for a few turns and actually they probably would have killed it. Then I've got another 2 units of 5 Storm Boys, all-star players. Yeah, I think sort of unit of the match. They just scored me so many points. They were able to come in and do actions pretty much every game. If they weren't, I think there was only one instance where I couldn't get anywhere to do the action. They came in and hid ready for next turn and then did an action next turn. So again, just point scoring there. And then a bit unusual, I guess, 3 units of 3 Deathcopters. Now again, I don't think I want to leave these at home ever now. Really annoying to deal with. I found my opponents were just really frustrated at dealing with them. 4 wounds, 4 at base save, and a 6 up for no pain base, 5 up in the war. They just don't die. It takes really heavy duty anti-tank to put into them, so when you've got stuff like Tyrannosaurus firing at the Deathcopters, it's obviously really inefficient for them to be shooting at stuff like that, and their ability just to plink a few wounds off like flat damage 3 at twin-linked weapons, I find them really good. Unit of 5 Meganobs over there, twin-link kill saws on those. I needed more AP2, unfortunately they only get about 2 attacks, 3 in the war. I just found they didn't really kill anything. They did stay around for a few times, a few games, but yeah, I'm not set on those. I think I might make that change in the future. And then 3 units of 2 mech guns, all custom mega cannons. They did end up killing themselves slowly if it gets hot, but not before. They would either do nothing or one-shot something. And when that comes up, actually they were taking a few wounds off here and there, and which would just help the Squigs really and the beast bosses to just get the kills that I needed to get. Yeah, I think the list worked really well. I think there's 1 or 2 changes I might make, but overall I think it all complemented each other. It's really fast. I sort of discovered that I could deploy mid-board, screening out the mech guns. No one really could get to the mech guns before they've chewed through all the orc bodies in the way. Just meant that these stayed alive. And yeah, it all worked really, really well. I'll go on to the day then, obviously hosted by Kirtonian Games in Crediton. Yeah, they've been going from strength to strength, I feel. Then a few GTs now as well, which also been very good, but I think they've now nailed down their terrain setup. Really good, loads of terrain on the board. They've done some outline markers as well in clear plastic so that you knew that you were on the terrain. There was no discussion between players whether you were in terrain or not benefiting from that. Just really, really nice guys that are running it. Rob especially, you need to email him about something. He just always replies, always seems to find the time for people. And he seems to be a big fan of the hobby as well, so obviously that helps. Yeah, I think everyone that attended had a really good game. I didn't hear any complaints from any of the players about any of their games or any of the people, so obviously that's kind of what we all go for, isn't it? It's more of a laugh than anything else, watching stuff die spectacularly one side or the other. And yeah, I think everyone overall had a really good day. I'll move on to the games. I'll try and keep this short and sweet today because I myself have a short attention span. I'm sure many of you do. So round one was versus Luke Harmer. Now Luke Harmer was actually a spare player, stand-in player. So massive thank you to him for actually stepping up and allowing everybody to actually have games. Without him, the day wouldn't have been possible for everyone. It's actually Orks, which was really cool. I don't get many opportunities to play Orks, being the Crow's pretty much resident Ork player. So it's obviously really interesting to watch other people's takes on them as well. I think he ran quite a lot of beast snagger infantry, a big blob of Squighock boys, I remember, led up by Noble and Smasher Squig as well, so again, good choice. Gorkanaut, which I'd love to see, I've been needing to run mine for forever now. Then he had a couple of units of boys and beast snagger boys, a unit of storm boys as well, and then a unit of Nob war bikers led up by a war boss as well. So again, fast, lots of choppy combat units. Being Orcs is always pretty scary. Unfortunately, I think this one, I did win this game. I think it was lost in deployment, unfortunately. I should probably do through the missions. I'll explain to you why it was kind of lost in deployment. The missions was the ritual, so it's a bit annoying because you can place your own objectives down. So you can see home one and the centre one. You can place more down later. It's actually really good for Orcs. Really mirror match, probably not so good, but all your combat stuff just ends up in one place, which is obviously pretty scary for anybody trying to get into that. We had scramble fields as well, so no scout moves and things like that. Not that that affected, I think, either of our lists. And then deployment sweeping engagement, so it's the really shallow vanguard strike, if you like, triangle streak deployment. Pretty good for Orcs actually as well, because it gives you a nice spread across the field and pretty even charge distances into most of the board. Yeah, I think unfortunately I started to put some of my heavier firepower down on the right hand flank of as if I was facing the board. There's quite a lot of buildings here, quite a lot of buildings here. Nice line of sight blocking, couldn't see, so he put quite a lot of units behind here, so infantry units, and his version of Mosrag, forgot to mention he had that as well, was behind this building. And yeah, I kind of saw that because all that's behind there, it's going to take a couple of turns to get to me. He then placed the Gorkanaut over this side, was a bit more exposed along with some killer cans and the big unit of Squighock boys. And unfortunately, my mech guns could actually see the Squighock boys as well, and I got first turn. So I killed off quite a lot of those. I think I whittled down to one and the boss knob leading them. And I clinked off a couple of wounds from the Gorkanaut as well in the opening turn. I didn't move too far forward. I sort of shifted the flank with the Deathcopters to try and deal with the bikes in the next turn. He couldn't charge anything, sort of made sure I was out of range. I did my actions and stuff that I needed to do. I also deployed an objective just off of here. I think it ended up about here on the board. Yeah, and then just wait for his turn. His turn, I sort of moved up enough so that I knew that in my turn two, I would be able to then call the war, which did, and countercharge everything pretty much. I pretty much tied up everything I needed to, bar the 3 or 4 boy squads that were here and Mosrag. So I did a couple of wounds. I think I killed a killer can, made charges into that. My Squighock boys, all on this side, all made charges into the Gorkanaut after it had been shot a few times. I think it was down to like 6 or 7 wounds by the time the mech guns had finished shooting at it. And that obviously died. 1 killer can dead. Killed a unit of boys on behind a wall here as well. Yeah, and that was just, I cleared a lot of the board then. I think in return I lost a couple of Deathcopters and a couple of Squighock boys overall, and then it just meant that his nasty characters and the infantry then had to come forward into nothing or double back on themselves, and unfortunately they doubled back. That's when I sent the Deathcopters in. My Storm boys came in and did all the actions, and I kind of owned the board after that. So, but Luke himself, really nice player, young lad. I think he went on to have a lot better games. Unfortunately, it did end up being 126, I think, to myself. So yeah, no, I hope he did have a better day after that, and I didn't actually get a chance to check up with him in the end, because it's no one likes that kind of ass kicking really. I've been on the receiving end of that, especially against knights and things, and yeah, not really that nice. Yeah, well, okay, we'll move on to game 2. I've had to write some notes because I can't remember everything, remembering like a sieve. This was against Scott Foster, and this is the Tyrannid Crusher Stampede out of the new Codex. No experience with the new Tyrannids at all. Actually, I've not played them in 10th yet, so I was a bit worried going into that one. Obviously, leaned really heavy into all the monsters. I think he pretty much had one of every single monster you can get for Tyranids. And the new Norn Emissary, which is a gorgeous model and terrifying at the same time, knowing that you actually have to try and face that. Aware that it's got a 4-up invulnerable save, which is one of the few things I did know. I didn't know it was OC15. Obviously that went on centre objective, and yeah, you end up having to shift that model. That's pretty scary. Mission for this one was priority targets with chilling rain and sweeping engagement, so another sort of Vanguard style deployment if you like, from early editions. So this one's a bit narrower but goes further up the board. I ended up having to deploy my first unit. I lost that role. I did end up winning the role off to go first. I found after my first game as well I could do a pretty similar deployment. So space the net guns out slightly across your deployment around a building, ideally to screen out your home objective. Gretchen on the home objective, just to get your CP regeneration. So I did forget to mention I got a unit of 10 Gretchen. Really good for 50 points. See, like 50-50 on a CP, get back every turn. I'll take that for 50 points. And then basically just sort of split the flanks up. So I sent these guys in as an anti-armor threat on their own basically, and then I put everything else with the beast bosses just to send up as a big shunt. So I sent the beast bosses up on my far left hand flank. I moved them up behind a building so they couldn't be seen by the terrain effects that he had in his backfield, and then everything else kind of moved towards the centre, if you like, but away from the central objective. I didn't want to get on that in the first turn. I think I drew engage for the first battle round, so I sent a unit of Deathcopters off. They killed a zoanthrope, nothing special. Then weirdly, actually, they refused to die. I think one was left alive at the end of his turn too. I took a few wounds off monsters. I think I wounded the Screaming Killer. I think I wounded the name, I couldn't remember the name on the day either. The really munchy Tyranid with the massive tongue, the Horospex, that's it. I wounded that. Annoyingly, I didn't get any kills, so I think Bring It Down was my other secondary. So again, that was actually a bit of a shaky start. Luckily though, I sort of had the foresight to not put anything too much in charge range. So actually he moved forward, he got some shots off, his terrain effects killed, I think it was a Squig-Hog, maybe 2 Squig-Hogs. And I lost 2 Deathcopters as well to the old one-eye led Carnage brood, and actually they're really nasty. And that was it. So turn 2, yeah, I managed to kill 2 of his big monsters. I killed his Maleceptor and the Horospex and the Screaming Killer actually in that turn, and I managed to wipe out the Zoanthrope brood as well. I moved the Deathcopters back around to engage those. Met guns again just sort of plinked away. Norn Emissary actually hadn't come out in his turn onto the central objective yet. I think he was very wary that I had some Meganobs sat behind a building ready to get out and munch that to pieces. In his turn 2, however, that did move around, move centre boards. With, yeah, I can't remember what was on the centre objective now, but he did come in, he did kill that, which was a bit unfortunate. I think it actually ended up being the Norn Emissary killed most of the Meganobs and the Squig-Hogs I sent into the Horospex that had moved onto the central objective in his first turn. Yeah, I think that's all I need to say on that game. It was such a close game as well. Such a good Scott himself. I voted him my favourite player of the week of the Saturday. I think our minds were quite similar, so quite a lot of the same banter. I think we just ended up quoting memes and movies. Like I've got nothing left because everything just kept dying. I don't think either of us had a lot left by the end of the game. I think my favourite bit was the Swarm Lord and Mosrag going toe to toe in his deployment zone. They kind of just sort of slapped each other for three fight phases. Didn't really do anything. Slightly annoying, and then randomly just killed each other on the way out. I did fight and death with Mosrag to take the Swarm Lord out, and both our judges failed us on our saves, and they both died, which is a bit hilarious. But that ended up being, I think it was 84-82, so incredibly close game. I wouldn't have minded if Scott had won that, because it's just, yeah, I don't think he did anything wrong. I probably do need to mention he picked fixed secondaries. I think that's the only thing that might have stopped him from actually winning the game, because he got deploy teleport homers every single turn by turn 4 and 5, because I think he just ran out of units. We had Rippers do it, and Trigons do it, and some other units as well that were just really fast. And I think he just ran out of those, so he didn't get it in turns 4 and 5. He also, because this list, I was a bit worried actually, and he spotted it just hemorrhages Bring It Down points. These are worth 2 points each. However, I think that might have been a bit of a trap, that he was locked in at 20 points then. And I think because he maxed it out, it was obviously that 2 point swing. I think here and there, if he'd been able to get the deploy teleport home as the extra turn, that would have been his game for me, I think. But yeah, no, solid game. So that was game 2. And then round 3, round 3. So actually we got 2 wins under our belt, which actually rarely happens for myself. I was a bit surprised at this point. And then I came up against a Mr. Felix Patch, and going into this game straight away, seeing the points that he had scored with Votan, a bit surprised to everyone, I think, because Votan were lagging before the balanced data slate. So thank you GW for sorting Votan out, because obviously they've sorted out some of their failings. And as actually Felix pointed out when we first went into the game, judgment tokens everywhere going into that. So I think pretty much all of my nasty stuff had 2 judgment tokens on. +1 to hit, +1 to wound for his entire army against is terrifying actually. He ran Sagittor spam. I think that's the transports, the little transports. They got all the rockets, all the bolters, and then a couple of units of the bikes with all the rotary cannons. Now I haven't faced them. I faced them in the previous edition, so I was aware of how much firepower they probably can put out. I imagine it's pretty similar in this edition. You didn't actually get to use them in the end. I managed to kill them off before they got to do anything. But going into this game, I knew that he was a good player. He seemed really astute. He knew his army, knew his rules, which is obviously dangerous to go up against in the last game if you're trying to win. And I needed going into there up against the gun line. I was like, this is going to hurt if I don't start doing damage in the first turn. I was unaware that he had a scout move as well, so actually I got first turn again. So actually really lucky this tournament. I got first turn in every single one. I think that might have been a contributing factor to the wins. He scout moved everything behind cover, so none of my mech guns and none of my death copters could see anything in the first turn. I think I might have got one shot off at something at some point. I don't think it hit anything. Obviously that's a problem. Just due because the mission was taking holds with chilling rain, so no other jank going on there, and then search and destroy missions. So it's the 9-inch bubble in the middle, that sort of corner deployment. Actually, really good deployment for Orks. I think that also helped. So I think this game everything came up Millhouse. It went the way I needed it to. So I deployed pretty much as far forward as I could get. Because of his scout move as well, he'd moved some half guard behind a building, which is just about here. So I'm only 9 inches away at ward. I was like, I need to ward turn 1. If I don't make the charges, I need my shields up, because otherwise he's just going to wipe me off the face of the planet. Because I've been up against stuff like that, like Knights level of firepower, really. Orcs just absolutely disintegrate, especially in an MSU style army. Stuff just dies. Luckily, I got pretty much all the charges off I need to. I moved Mosrag up this way, Beast Boss over here, and then all the squigs up the middle. And then I had the Knob on Smash Squig again flanking, because he had another couple of Sagittors that had scout moved over here behind the building. And yeah, I made the charge with these guys, popped the strat to give them +2 to their advance, +2 to their charge. Again, that really helped actually. It meant that I got into the vehicle and the bikes that were hidden behind that building, and actually I cleared both. Really good, strong start. And then the Squighole boys went in to the Hearthguard that were hidden behind here. Now actually, if I'd remembered that Lance was a thing, it would have killed them a lot easier and stressed me out a lot less. Sadly, I forgot about that for the entire tournament. Brain. And then the Beast Boss that got overwatched the crap out of as soon as he moved by all the Hearthguard, which have a ridiculous amount of firepower. I think it's like, it must be close to 60 shots those guys put out in total. They've got like D6 bolter shots and then plasma guns of some description. Took him down to 3 wounds, and I was like, oh dear. And Mosrog failed a charge as well, so a bit unfortunate, but I'm prepared for something to not get the charge off. Beast Boss goes in. I think I fought with the Squigs first, knowing that he would take away some of his Hearthguard from somewhere and try and prevent me from fighting. I think he did end up taking from the back and then forward, so I fought in the middle first. Cleared or picked 1 or 2 off every time with the Squighole boys. The Beast Boss then cleared out the rest, actually got him and Carl that was in that unit as well, so that was 10 Terminator equivalent, if you like, just dead. So again, really beneficial. The Beast Boss tied up 2 of his tanks as well by the time it charged in, so he'd have to do -1 to hit unless he wants to fall back. And then I moved the Deathcopters up to this objective, and the Deathcopters just kind of went centerboard, ready for the following turns, really. Yeah, his counter was nowhere near as good as I thought it was going to be. I think I just kept making saves. The Beast Boss that ended up on 3 wounds in my first turn. I think it took 4 of the Sagittars that were left to bring him down. Left 1, and then because I cleared out a unit of bikes, and I think I shot another one. He had 2 bikes left, I believe, and he put them back into reserve. So I only had to deal with one of the Sagittars shooting anything else in my army. So actually I got away with that really well. And then unfortunately, I think for the Votan at that point, that was the nail in the coffin. My turn 2, I think I cleared out another 2 Sagittars. Some of the guard that I got out to do deploy teleport homers. I might add as well that Felix chosen fixed secondaries again. Again, he spotted that this hemorrhage is bringing down points. I think unfortunately, because the vehicles were all tied up and everything just stayed around, the Deathcopters just refused to die. They were taking wounds from the transports and things. It just meant that he didn't actually rack up all the bring it down points he needed to. I can't remember how many he actually scored in the end, but I think it was between between 12 and 16 points in total, if I can get my words out. Storm always did what they always seem to do now, scoring points. They just did actions. I did tactical secondaries all the way through this tournament, and the list just seemed to actually work really well for that. It's really flexible, it's really fast. Met guns again. Actually didn't have line of sight to a lot of stuff for the whole game. I think they shot down one Sagittaire eventually, and then some Hearthguard. He brought in his second unit Hearthguard on the back objective, and they did kill quite a lot in the end. But because they're so slow, and he needed to hold objectives for points and stuff, it just wasn't able to get back in the fight on the primary mission as well. So the Orks just seem to have pushed everything back off of that. But Felix himself, really good game, really nice player actually, and again his rules knowledge seems to be absolutely great. Unfortunately, that was a win for me. I think that ended up being 100 to the Orks and 56 because I just maxed out the primaries and I pretty much scored all my points every turn. It's just really good. I really enjoyed the event. Yeah, and I hope Felix did as well. I really enjoyed my game against Felix. And I think that's it. I've added the boss here because I think he's happy with the results. And came away with first place overall, which was really good. I'm really happy. I haven't won anything with Orks in a while. And definitely looking to go back in the future. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I apologise for the sort of stop-start nature of it. I've never done a video report before. I've just been asked to by a bunch of the guys. I hope you enjoy it.